on this virtual tour stop, we are standing in a stand that is currently working through kind of the very late stages of stem exclusion. So this is another loblolly pine stand in the Piedmont. The previous video showed you a stand that was about 18 years old. This one is more like 80 years old, like 80. So this came up on an abandoned agricultural field right after World War II. It's a mix of loblolly pine and shortleaf pine, but there's also some yellow poplar mixed in here. There's some sweet gum. You know, it's kind of your typical mix on these old field sites in the Piedmont. But, you know, if we look down, again, we're seeing stems on the forest floor. These stems have been excluded, but these are much larger stems. The other thing I want to point out, compared to that 18-year-old stand that we saw earlier, we've got about a third as many trees, if not fewer, in this stand. So stem exclusion has been going on for, what, an additional 60 years on sites like this, and this is kind of the aftermath of that. This is what these stands kind of turn into over time as stem exclusion goes through and more stems start to die. But let's look up again. So we look down, you can see these stems are still dying due to competition in here. But we look up, we're still not really creating that much growing space when these trees die. Yeah, they have larger crowns, and sometimes when they come down, they take down a few more stems with them. And in those situations, there are parts of this stand that might be kind of more resembling the next stage of stand development, which would be understory reinitiation. But for the most part, we're kind of still in those very late stages of stem exclusion, where when the stems die, the neighbors basically just quickly take over that growing space. And in some cases, we're seeing that cohort of hardwood that's in here actually start to move up and take over some of those canopy positions. I did not pick a great tour spot to showcase that reality. Other than if you can see it with the videos, if you can actually see it with the video's resolution, there's an overstory red maple kind of right over here, and there's actually a lot of yellow poplar in this stand. So this, again, it's kind of that very late stage of stem exclusion and probably getting pretty close to where when things start to happen, when disturbances hit this stand and more trees start to fall out, we might see enough growing space open up that we might see understory reinitiation start to really kick in and be pronounced in here.